Hello, thank you for watching. This is Jared Hood Sports Show. Uh, Pretty big day. Excited to talk sports with you today. So, gonna go a little bit NBA. Julio Jones got traded. Said we'll definitely chime in on that. And what do I got at the end here today? Oh yeah, that fight, non-fight. We'll talk about it. Before we get into the NBA, quick USA Soccer. I know I'm not gonna bore everybody here. Christian Pulisic is the man. That was awesome. Ton of energy, very fun. Possibly, maybe we'll at least, as a U.S., maybe we'll at least qualify for the World Cup. No, jokes aside, Pulisic is the guy, right? So I think there's a potential real chance to build around him. I'm not saying they can win a World Cup, but they can be competitive. We'll see what happens moving forward. A lot has to happen moving forward. But as a USA soccer fan, very excited. Even though that was just a friendly the other night, that was very exciting. In the NBA, Clippers win Game 7. They beat the Mavericks. Luka was incredible. I know Dwight and I talked a little bit, not the best about Kawhi, but I did point out how good of a game he had, even in that loss the other when we were talking about it. Um, he was pretty much incredible through the whole series. The difference was Paul George showing up. Don't get me wrong. Kawhi in Game 6 and Game 7 was extraordinary. I mean, that was the kind of performance that you need, the kind of performance that you get a guy like Kawhi Leonard for. Um, it was different. He's that's when he has. Here's the thing with Kawhi, and this is why we were talking about him that way, or at least it kind of can feel that way for, especially when Dwight was talking about his shortcomings almost. Like you need to have the right pieces around him. The thing with Kawhi is like the bad games aren't an anomaly, the good games aren't an anomaly. He doesn't boast so frequently, right? And sometimes he has a bad game and a win, and a really good game and a loss. So it's like it's hard to judge sometimes, but if he has games like Game 6 and 7, if he has more games like Game 6 and 7, yeah, excuse me, he's right up there with the top of the top. So hard, hard to, I guess, really break down when he plays that well. If he plays that well all the time, the difference, Paul George. Now, the other side, the difference was Porzingis not showing up. Right? Did he pull a Paul George? Was that like a very Paul George kind of thing, where he just didn't show up? They need more production from people around Luka, obviously. I know I'm a Rick Carlisle fan. I get it. It's hard to find really good coaches in the NBA. They haven't won a playoff series since they won the championship. A hard sell. It's a hard sell, and they've had a lot of bad years in that time frame. So I don't know. Are the Mavs in trouble? Like I said to Dwight that day. Like I said to Dwight a couple shows ago. What can they do? Can you trade Porzingis? What can you do? Luka's going to get the Supermax this offseason, so you can build around him. But yeah, Clips just had a deeper roster, and it kind of makes you wonder. We're definitely going to break the other. We'll talk about not necessarily the Clippers and Utah there, but like they're one of the three best teams in the West. I mean, all four teams that are left, three of those teams really can win the championship. So they're one of them, and survive and advance. Parity. It's been fun. Uh, Nets, Bucks. We will talk about the Sixers. I don't know if you're waiting, but I know people are ready to get on me about it, so I do have a lot to say there. Nets, Bucks. Nets do seem impossible to stop. I was interested to see how the Bucks lined up and matched up with them, and it was just like we're just gonna come at you, and good luck. If you can keep up, great. Like they don't seem to be worried about defense. Over time, they'll get more, but sure, that might slip up and hurt them at some point, but scoring at this rate, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe my thought on the defense is always the thing, right? Like because to me, I was just like, yeah, I'm not worried about the Nets because they can't play defense. Yeah, they might be able to score 150, but against good defense, there's like a shift. There's been a seismic shift, and I get it, the 3-point ball, everything, but point being is that shift might lead us to we're gonna put up 125 and see if you can get there every time. at 130, and we'll see if you can get there. And the Nets are good enough. I mean, they got three guys that have they're three guys. They average 90 points. Those three. Like, I start counting on the Sixers. Sometimes I'm at like the fifth guy. I'm like, all right, well, all five of those can get 95, right? Like I'm just that's it's tough. So Harden being out, if we'll see about that moving forward. But KD being as good as KD is, and I mean Kyrie's a magician. Um, they're pretty dominant. And when the other rest of the team gets open, obviously, Joe Harris is the name, but and Blake, I mean, if Blake Griffin scores 18 points, forget about it. Forget about it. The Nets are going to win pretty much every time. If two of the three superstars play and Blake Griffin has a game like he had on Saturday night, they're probably going to win every time. So even against a good team like the Bucks, Bucks are probably going to shoot a little better. I was kind of confident that the Bucks might be able to stick with them. Defense will be more of a factor throughout the series for the Bucks, but it was further in Game 1 offensively than I thought it was going to be for the Nets against them, and so that was kind of like a little. I was a little taken back. Before I make a judgment, I don't want to say after one game it's over. The series is over. No one can get with the Nets. It kind of does feel that way. I'm not gonna lie, but I want to see more in that series because I do think the Bucks can make some adjustments. Um, we'll see. The Bucks need to hit back though. Any chance to win in this series, they got to hit back. Game 2, Game 3. I think they got. I mean, I'm not saying you must win both of them, but you got to hit back. You got to feel very competitive in both of them and win one of those two. Sixers Hawks. No one. I mean, no one had an answer for Trey. I got it. Trey Young, Danny Green was just following him around. Myself included, with the rest of the Sixers fans screaming at my TV, like, "Hey, can you put Ben or Matisse on him? Like one of the two really good defenders, like really, really good." Danny Green's a 3-and-D guy, I get it, but look, you're gonna have to. The only way to even keep him within, is trying to get one of those two on him. Down 17, down 20. Epic comeback, kind of looked bad. Then another epic comeback, almost won the game. Embiid scored 39, looked way better than most people expected. The images and the videos I saw of him from the time that he got hurt to the time they played that game, I felt like it might be all right, but you had to see it first. The Sixers had 9 turnovers in the first quarter, the first half there, whatever. They usually get like 9 turnovers a whole game. Defense was not all that good. Ben Simmons got in foul trouble. If those things don't happen, right? A bunch of open missed shots, or a bunch of shots that were open missed. Danny Green missed two there. To me, like the turning point, the factor, right? They made this real big comeback, and then Danny Green missed an open three, which if he would have made, and then they come back, he missed another open three, which if he would have made, if he would have made both those open threes, it's a 1 point game with like a minute and 10 there to go. Instead, it was like a 10-point game with a minute 10 to go, and they still had an opportunity, it felt like. So, a lot of anomalies. A lot of things, speaking of anomalies, I guess that's the word of the show, but a lot of things that, as somebody who watches a lot of Sixers games, I saw happen that don't happen a lot for the Sixers. Not saying Trey Young can't keep them off balance and do this for a whole series. Again, gonna have to see more. Personally, I still feel like the Sixers got this series. I still feel like the Sixers were able to control when they needed to. Ben Simmons and Matisse got on Trey in the second half. I think the game turned way completely around. 39 points from Embiid is crazy, but a lot of other things happen that don't happen. If that doesn't happen, but a lot of other things happen that don't happen that were bad for the Sixers. I'm not saying Trey Young can't create the chaos and make this happen for a couple more wins. I'm going to have to see it because right now it felt like, all right, figured it out. Got it. Second half was all right, lock that up, we'll go. So, that's all I have written down for this. I just want to make sure I covered everything because I don't want to sound like, oh, I'm just kicking my feet up. I'm not scared of them. The Hawks are. It was an incredible game one that was so fun. playoff basketball, playoff everything for me is fun, but playoff basketball is so awesome. And when your team's in it and part of it, even in a loss like that, it's great energy. Not fun in the first half. That hurts, kicking the teeth, but smacked them right back. So again, gonna have to see moving forward. Still feel confident and comfortable with the Sixers, especially what I saw towards the end of that game. But again, I mean, Trey definitely, obviously, and the rest of the Atlanta Hawks who were hitting shots pose a threat and definitely expose some things that I'm gonna have to work on to win this series. Denver, Phoenix. I know, not a whole lot to say because one of the key players is hurt for Denver. But Phoenix, Devin Booker off the chart. Chris Paul, if he plays really well, we'll see. I think he's going to be pretty healthy. It sounds like Aiton, who I really loved in college and now moving forward, he's been great since he's been in the NBA. So all these, the Suns, and plus they have a team that can shoot around them too. Speaking of teams that can shoot like the Hawks, uh, obviously Monty Williams, the coach. So again, interested to see what Nikolai Jokic can do against them, but and others obviously because Denver has a good group. If Murray was healthy, I would believe that maybe they'd have a chance. But they might even be the best team in the West. I mean, all four of these teams that are left, none of them I think have ever won a championship, which is pretty cool. Parity, right? Just talking about that. But it's cool, all kind of fresh too. Different teams, different faces. So in the West, I mean, in the West and the East a little too than the Bucks, but the other two teams haven't been this far in a while. So pretty cool. Parody. But anyways, back to that specific series. Just interested to kind of see if Devin Booker and Aiton can kind of. I'm interested to see Aiton versus Jokic, but it's what they can do. And if Chris Paul and them, I mean, can they take over? Can they be dominant? Can they? I expect them to win this series just because of Denver having a player down. Not saying Denver can't pull some stuff out because they are good enough, especially again, talk about a guy who creates chaos offensively with Jokic, but um, we'll see. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Moving on to football. Julio Jones traded. Told you last time we were on here, if there was a first round out there, they got to take it right then and there. I never believed there was a first round out there. I think Ian Patrick was talking about that today too. Um, the Titans, they waited. They did the long wait, and they got him. They're scary offensively. Brown and Julio. Julio, exceptional talent. Okay. Um, Brown, exceptional talent. Derrick Henry, exceptional talent. Offensive line, when healthy, pretty good. They're offensively fun. Like I think that they can still throw a little more. Keep the philosophy of run first, though. Throw a little more. Keep the philosophy of run first. And they're going to score a ton of points. They were. I mean, didn't they lose the Browns like 43-30 something? Like it was a high scoring game. I feel like they can have a ton of those games. The issue, and Vrabel is a defensive guy, so he's going to be the one to figure it out. Their defense was bottom five in the league last year. Not fun to watch. Not like. So I was thinking about this. Who wouldn't want Julio Jones? I'm not saying don't do it. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, does it change anything, right? Because here's my thought: like the Chiefs, probably still better. The Bills, you can argue. I don't know. I mean, that defense and that offense of the Bills. I'm thinking I'm taking the Bills. As scary as the Titans' offense is, I think they're gonna score a lot of points. And they're gonna have to outscore a lot of people this year, unless their defense can make some drastic turnaround. If their defense even gets within top 15, they're probably just as good as the Chiefs, if not better. They can compete with them. But they got to have a huge jump from last year to this year to be into that realm. So that's what kind of holds me back. Are the Ravens better? I mean, like, are the Browns better? You can argue that these teams are just as good at minimum as the Titans, and that's kind of what, as good as the Titans' offense is, that's what holds me back. I like Tannehill, though. I like the whole offense. Just very interested to see not to beat the dead horse, but interested to see what their defense can do, and that will be the difference. And I'm sure we're only, I think, 2 months away from, or 2.5 months away from the season. We're not far from the season start. I mean, we're really, they'll be practicing here soon enough. All right, we're in June, and it'll be mid-June next week. So August they'll be out there. So that's all I have on Julio. But great move. Hopkins, DeAndre Hopkins. Sorry, DeAndre Hopkins. Can't speak for some reason. Went for a second. Makes sense. As good as Julio is, and I think Julio is exceptional. Last thing I'll talk about is the non-fight. Look, if you follow me on Twitter or been friends with me on Facebook, you saw weeks ago whenever they announced this that I didn't think it was real then. And then I read the language and I was like, oh, this is definitely not real because it was made for entertainment purposes only, is what it said in the contract. And then they come out and say there's going to be no judges, there's going to be no winner if no one gets knocked out. They're like the whole thing was just okay. Well, now I feel like this entire Floyd Mayweather Logan Paul fight is staged, and then well, I guess the hat thing happened before that was announced. But anyway, when Logan Paul's brother took Floyd Mayweather's hat and Floyd Mayweather fake tried to punch him but didn't actually really connect, like he got him with it. The fact that all of the teeth weren't knocked out, my man didn't have a broken nose. Yeah, knew right then and there. He was getting held by security and Floyd punched him. A professional boxer, all he did was make him bloody, give him a little cut. No, no, no. And then the fight itself happened, and it was what we all expected. Well, at least me. I see a lot of people complaining that they didn't know it was fake. I don't know how you didn't know it was fake. They made it very clear that this was not going to be a real thing. And then here's what's really bothering me, because here's we can get past all that at the end of the day. Whatever. I mean, it worked. As Floyd said, I just legally did a bank robbery or whatever he just said. I mean, the thing that really annoys me is I'm a boxing fan, not a boxing purist or by any means. I'm not like deep in the weeds with boxing, but I like watching boxing. I like following the who's got the title. I like seeing what their upcoming fights are. I have my favorite boxers that I like to watch. I'm a fan of boxing, but the boxing purists out there, right? They're all complaining and saying this is bad for the sport and this, that, and the next thing. And da, 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 da. Look, is it bad for the sport? Maybe, maybe, but they're getting you. UFC is extremely popular in comparison. Their pay per views do crazy bigger numbers in comparison to anything that boxing's putting out lately. So here's the thing: like you can be upset with Logan Paul for doing a bunch of these. You can be upset with Floyd Mayweather for being involved in this. And sure, I don't like Floyd Mayweather the human, but I do like watching Floyd Mayweather box. Would I have liked to see Floyd Mayweather involved in something like this? No. Was it exciting for me? No. Was I like, oh man, that's kind of cheap, I guess, or whatever? Yeah, but I understood it. I don't begrudge him or Logan Paul. My issue is like, how can you be mad because boxing can't put on as good of excuse me, boxing can't put on as good as an entertaining show as that was. Even the Chad Ochocinco thing. I'm a big Chad Johnson fan. Did I feel like that was maybe real? Maybe, I don't know. He got knocked down. It looked like he took a punch. The bumps were real, at least, for all of them. But sure, so I watched that and I was like, yeah, good for him. I'm glad he got in the ring, played around a little bit. Looked like he had some fun. Everybody looked like they had fun. Looks like everybody made a lot of money too. So my thing was like, I'm not going to be mad at the people involved with that. I'm not going to be mad at the people buying it or watching it either. The boxing purists, you need to figure out how to get your biggest boxers and biggest promoters to work together to get all of them in the ring at the times that they need to be in, to fight when they should fight, to make it a reasonable price too, because half the time if that ever does happen, they're all trying to make $100 off the pay-per-view per pay-per-view, and then it doesn't get the ratings it's supposed to get. So again, if everybody could work together over the next 4 or 5 years, that Logan Paul fight will look ridiculous compared to a real boxing match. But right now, for entertainment purposes only, it was entertaining. People watched it, people were reacting, people are talking about it the next day, people care. That's more than what you can say for boxing right now. So to me, be frustrated, be mad, but you got boxing can only look itself in the face and be like, that's why we're here, and that the only way to get out of here and get back to where they can possibly be is by doing the right things to get there. And people much smarter than me, much more involved with it than me, have been saying that for 15 years. I mean, for longer than I've been even paying attention for boxing. So don't get me wrong. I'm just stealing the same material that everybody else has been talking about for years. I'm not reinventing the wheel when I tell you that boxing system's messed up. But that's the issue with you getting mad at this happening. Still wish the Undertaker would have been the special guest referee. Probably would have stayed up and watched the main event then. That's all I got. Thank you for watching Jared Head Sports Show. If you have any topics you want to talk about, we'll definitely be talking about more Sixers, NBA. My Phillies, I don't know. I'm disgusted, but kind of on the uprise, still disgusted. Football coming, as I said, so a bunch. The NHL playoffs are going on. I haven't really talked about them. I haven't watched them as much. I do know what the series, what things are happening. I swoop in, I pay attention, but I'm rooting for the Avs. But we'll see. So definitely stuff to talk about moving forward. Thank you for watching, Jared Hood.